Welcome to the show. My name is Charlton with Big C, and we're talking real talk sports. We do it every Monday through Friday at the 5 o'clock p.m. time, Pacific Standard Time, and we bring you real sports. Today is beautiful March 30th, 2016. And Big C, thank you again for calling in from the East Coast, as you always do. And again, people keep asking me, Charlton, who is Big C? And I want to thank all my Twitter followers. We're growing every day, especially in Latin America, so bienvenidos. Welcome to Charlton and Big C. And Big C, I want to ask you a question. You know, you're one of the big guys that been following the business for about 40 years as an athlete, also national TV and radio, but you also, Big C, love Hollywood and some of the actors that come out of Hollywood. How we blend sports in Hollywood. Stephen A. Smith is going to be on General Hospital tomorrow, Big C.
Well, Stephen A., you know, he's going to take his road show into General Hospital. He's going to become that daytime actor, sort of what he does on the mothership, you know, on ESPN, you know, with Skip Bayless.
Yes.
You know, Stephen A. started out years ago, Charlton, as a beat writer with the 76ers in Philadelphia. And I guess since the Philadelphia's had some down times over the past couple of years, only thing you can do is beat them up and not write for them and stuff. So, you know, he's done a lot of work with ESPN. He's on Sirius XM satellite.
Yeah.
You know, Stephen A. is that controversial voice. You know, we see him on jerky commercials on television.
Yeah, beef jerky,
you know, with some of the ball players and stuff, with Richard Sherman, Rod Gronkowski.
Yeah.
And so, you know, he's crossed the barrier. He's doing not only as a journalist, but now he's turning into the acting part. You know, part of television is that anyway, so he should be a natural on General Hospital.
Well, I think I was watching Luke and Laura. I remember when I was a little boy, I would always get home from school so I could see Luke and Laura on General Hospital. But it talks about how some of the sports has always transcended acting. Acting in sports, in the entertainment, in the Hollywood world, it all goes together. This talk about the Lakers and D'Angelo Russell and Nick Young and how this tape came out about who dates who and who's videotaping who. Kind of scandalous, really not necessary in an NBA locker room. But Kobe Bryant started that, Big C, back in the day, but he said some things about Shaquille O'Neal, and we know that's part of what people expect now in Hollywood, Big C.
Well, you know, you think about the NBA season, Charlton, is too long. You know, the only thing right now that's interesting in the NBA is whether the Warriors break the Bulls record or not.
Yeah.
When you look at this stuff where, you know, players are going out and they're tweeting about other players and putting out videos, you got that with LeBron and his teammates in Cleveland. Now you have this scenario here in Los Angeles with the players. There's too much free time and too much time losing and not worrying about winning, Charlton. And that's what players have gone to. You know, Charlton, we talk about players being this one and done in college.
Yeah.
And you look at these players that you're talking about. They're one and done, two and done. They don't have social skills. So they're still playing kiddie games. They might be a millionaire, but they're children millionaires mentally, Charlton. So they go out and they do these things to hurt and try to, you know, defame other people. Instead of worrying about bettering their game, getting your team off of the snide where you've only won 15 games this year, it's more important to go tweet something negative about a teammate, Charlton.
Yeah, there are actually, it's a crazy when you think about it, some of the great players we've had there, from Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Magic Johnson, you know, Wilt Chamberlain, Goodrich, all the great players, they're 15 and 59, and can't really say a lot about them other than Los Angeles right now. And if you think about it, Big C, when you look at NBA basketball, it's always better when the Los Angeles Lakers are winning. When the Los Angeles Lakers are winning basketball, it's great for the NBA. And as people are calling in saying, well, what's going on with the Lakers? Can the Lakers turn things around? The NBA is always better when the Lakers win. Now, what do you think? And we talked about it before, about the Lakers being great for NBA, Big C. I just see this as a great molding pot. It's a great chance for them to shake up everything, get everyone out of the organization that they've had the last couple of years, and start a new, Big C. How would you rebuild it down there? I still say Kevin Love and Russell Westbrook.
Well, you know, Mitch Kupchak, you know, when he started with the Lakers, he had brown curly hair, Charlton. It's all white now. You know, you would think that he was running in the United States as president.
You think he's president? That's true.
But, you know, when you look at the Lakers and the dismay of this organization, Charlton, they won 63 games in the last 3 seasons.
Yeah.
63 games. Now, they had seasons in the past where they won 63 or more games.
Yeah.
They set the NBA standard back in the 70s when they won 69 games in a season, Charlton. So this was a once proud organization. Now you compare that to the Golden State Warriors this year alone, Charlton.
Yeah.
The Golden State Warriors have won 67 games. The Lakers 63 in 3 years, so they're really going to have to go through. And I don't think there's much left of this organization that you can go through and try to salvage it. You know, Kobe's gone, so that's going to release a lot of cap money coming next year.
Yeah.
But the young players that you have on the organization are more interested in about their social media life than what they are about developing on the floor. And when you get players tweeting out scandals about other players in the locker room, no other team wants him. No other teammate on another organization is going to accept him in the locker room. So it's going to be the Lakers out of the NBA for him, Charlton.
Well, when you think about that, too, and this segment is sponsored by your Northern California Cadillac dealer, home of the Escalade. You can only get it there brand new. Go tell them that Charlton and Big C sent you. And also, Big C, as we close out on talking about the Lakers, I know there were a couple of reporters that were talking to Byron Scott about what's going on. There's one reporter named Jay Arande, I believe, for ESPN, and they were asking Adonde, and he's a good reporter. They were asking Byron Scott more about this scandal as opposed to why do you guys only have 15 wins? And I think, Big C, as long as this is a distraction, may even seem intentional. That's my cynical part. If you get people talking about who's dating who in L.A., and let's think about it. In Hollywood, everybody dates everybody. It's not like it's something new. It just gets the distraction away from how they haven't had a great season.
Charlton, look at it from this perspective. When you have these talking heads on television every night, day in, day out, how do they explain why an organization is losing? How do they explain why this organization has gone down so far? They've run out of stories to tell, so they want to play tabloidism as reporters. They're supposed to be talking about sports, but now they're talking about tabloidism. You think about when Tiger Woods' career and marketing level was destroyed several years ago
for dating.
When his wife attacked his car with a golf club.
Yeah.
Okay? And all these scandals about Tiger, you know, that's part of professional athletes. Let's face it, okay?
It's Hollywood, it's life.
Athletics, you know, guys who have a wife have a girlfriend. Guys who have a girlfriend have two other girlfriends. That's just professional sport. Let's not be blind to the fact. You know, there's a lot of quiet boys in the leagues, but there's a lot of guys, you know, when they talk about size matters in sports, size matters. When you look at it overall, you know, Wilt had 20,000 women. Kareem scored all the
Wait a
points.
minute, who counted? Hold on. When people say that Wilt had 20,000 women, who did the counting? This is not like Hulk Hogan who cheated on his best friend's wife.
Wilt had a turnstile at his house, y'all. So people took tickets when they came in.
Could you imagine with Hulk Hogan videotaped having indiscretions with his best friend's wife? How many videotapes you would have had to have for Wilt Chamberlain's 20,000 conquest? I think he was embellishing, Big C. That's my.
Wilt was pre-beta and pre-VHS, Charlton. They didn't have any DVDs when he was around, so you know you don't really trust the store man.
Well, that is ironic because I'll never forget. There was a time when I was in college, and I remember talking to a hairdresser, and she's someone who's not famous, but just someone who name drops. How they'll say, "Hey, I did someone's hair in Hollywood." In a great show like The Barbershop, remember some of the great conversations you have in a barbershop, kind of like our show is Real Talk. But she was saying how in Hollywood people date like handshakes because they're always trying to benefit themselves by saying, well, if I hang out with this person, it benefits my career. More so than middle America, who may be under this facade that they're in love with someone who's going to be there long term. But when you go to L.A., sometimes you got to do what it takes in order to get the next opportunity, Big C.
Well, Charlton, it's about positioning your career and positioning yourself status-wise in Hollywood.
Yeah.
You're not going to find the average Hollywood person going out dating a guy from Burger King, okay?
Well,
that's not going to happen.
you can get the Whopper from Burger King. $3 goes a long way at Burger King, Big C, so I resent that statement.
And you can have it your way, Charlton, but, you know, that's not going to happen. So, you know, they're looking for somebody. It's about the financial status when you're in Hollywood.
Yeah.
That's what it's all based upon.
Yeah.
Where are you financially? It's not about, I love you. I love what you have.
Yeah.
Let's be realistic.
I think
you're not going to find somebody leaving Redondo Beach to go live, you know, in South Central.
Yeah.
It's just not going to happen.
So are you saying it's the other way around? People leave South Central to go live in the Redondo Beach, Big C?
Yes, they do, Charles.
I remember the Brady Bunch, and they were always moving to a different part, or the Beverly Hillbillies when they left Oklahoma to come to Hollywood. But this is something I want to bring up because I just see all this fiasco that we talked about, and we started doing it back at Salem Media back in September, Big C. LeBron James, and we've talked about how great of an athlete he is. Whether you like him or not, he really is a tremendous athlete.
You know, physically, Charlton has never been one better in the NBA.
Thunderous athlete. Well, maybe Wilt Chamberlain. However, Big C, all the acting up with Tyronn Lue, there are people, even Stephen A. Smith is saying, well, you know, Tyrone really don't mind that someone's usurping his power and trying to coach at the same time. He's talking to his players. Again, you and I talked about it being just an audition for L.A., that he's doing whatever he can to say, look, they don't want me here. They won't listen to me. I'm going to Los Angeles. At the same time, this Nick Young and D'Angelo Russell, that type of scenario. Do you think that L.A. is a place for LeBron, or maybe New York would be more of a fit because there's too much drama right now happening, Big C?
Well, Charlton, any city is going to be welcoming arms to LeBron James because they know what he brings to an organization.
Yeah.
But also, LeBron is being childish in his actions, Charlton. I mean, he is not being the grown man that he should be. He should take the high road in these scenarios, but he is out there playing handball with a snake up against the curb right now.
Well,
he has just gotten as low as everybody else, Charlton. So, you know, as much as he had been put on a pedestal, I think his ego has been crushed in the past 2 years because Steph Curry has gotten all this publicity. He is hands down the best player in the NBA. LeBron in the MVP voting, Charlton, will not even finish in the top 4, okay? It's going to be Steph Curry, it's going to be Michael Westbrook, and it's going to be Kawhi Leonard. Those are going to be the top 3 in the MVP voting.
Well,
LeBron, for the first time in his career, is going to fall out of the top 4.
Well, Westbrook is obviously a dynamic player, but I want to just keep in mind that LA is about acting. I think a lot of this is staged. I don't think this is just something that's a coincidence. I think it really is part of the Hollywood auditioning, and with Stephen A. Smith being on General Hospital tomorrow, I know it just seems like there's so much going on that's a distraction because there's not good basketball in LA, but now every Laker game people are going to see, they're going to tune in, Big C. They're going to tune in just to see, are these guys getting along or not? I think it's somewhat staged, Big C.
Well, yeah, you're going to have people interested. You know, the next thing you can do, Charlton, is have a fight on the floor. That's the only thing left for these players to do. Now, there may have been scraps in the locker room and things like that, but that's the only thing they're going to be able to do now is go at it on the floor. And that's what fans are wanting to see.
Yeah. They're
going to want to see this chicken fight go on between these players. And that's why this organization is going to have to dismantle itself. What you have right now with the Lakers as a roster, 50% of it has to be gone next year, Charlton, because there's nothing out there. When you have 15 games, and we talked about the Philadelphia 76ers, we talked about the Lakers, and you go back to the 70s, I believe it was in 1979 or 1980, when the Lakers and the 76ers, Magic Johnson's rookie year, when they played for the NBA championship and the Lakers won that. Two once proud organizations that right now couldn't rub two nickels together, Charlton.
Well, when you think about rubbing two nickels together, I'm going to tell you the Splash Brothers and Golden State Warriors, they're doing everything right, and this segment is sponsored by none other than BMW, your home of the ultimate driving machine. Go down and test drive the M7 600 horsepower, also known as the 760 Li. And around the NBA last night, Big C, we have none other than the Golden State Warriors with another win. They beat the Wizards 102-94. Steph Curry went for 26 points, and now they're at 67-7. They're a pace ahead of the 95-96 Chicago Bulls team. But also, we just talked about this too, Big C. The Houston Rockets 106-100 over the Cavaliers in Cleveland. And that's a game where LeBron James actually sat out of the game. But they were up 20 points and gave up a lead. And also, in LeBron James' defense, the Cavaliers are only 4-13 without the great King on the court in the last 2 years that he's been there, Big C. But I just think they're going in the opposite direction, Big C.
Well, you know, when you look at this organization, and I know Kyrie Irving, I believe, had about 39 points last night, Charlton. But Kevin Love only had one bucket in the fourth quarter. And when you lead a team by 20, and Houston plays no defense, at least when James Harden is out on the floor. You know, he plays that matador defense. So, you know, evidently somebody started playing matador defense against Houston in the fourth quarter last night, Charlton. But LeBron is looking for his exit right now. He is trying to find a way to say, hey, I can't get this organization to a championship. And when you do what he does to Tyronn Lue, we know he got rid of David Black. Now Tyronn Lue is just a figurehead on the bench with no control. And
I
last
agree.
night, LeBron was trying to coach from behind the bench.
Yeah.
You know, you got on street clothes, sit there, shut up, and watch. Every now and then, show you have some intelligence.
Well, again, I think.
Regardless of how great a player you are, sometimes let the coach coach. That's his job. He may know a little bit if you let him get it out to the rest of the players, Charlton.
No, I agree very much, but I think it's all staged, and I think he'll be exiting Cleveland, but this is just his audition for another team, so he can say, hey, I had to leave because they didn't want to give me what I wanted. Also around the NBA last night, the Hornets 100, the 76ers 85. Kind of a surprising game. The Pistons 88, the Thunder 82 in Auburn Hills, Michigan. Marcus Morris scored 24 points, and Detroit took advantage of Kevin Durant's absence. He was not in the game, as well as Serge Ibaka. But Oklahoma City, they seem like they're getting rested up for the playoffs also. Now, Big C, another topic I want to talk about, because this is going to be on ESPN in about 10 minutes. They're talking about one of the greatest moments, a seminal moment in college basketball when Kentucky played an all-black Texas Western University, and that's when an all-black team defeated the great Kentucky, and it's changed the face of college basketball. They're honoring that game tonight, Big C, on ESPN.
It not only changed the face of college basketball, Charlton, it changed the face of society. For years, these predominant white universities would not allow black athletes in, whether it was on the football field or whether it was on the basketball court, Charlton, even the baseball diamond. So, you know, they always felt, and there were teams out of that conference for years. I remember Mississippi State had an invite to the NCAA tournament in the 60s.
Yeah.
After they won the conference 3 consecutive years, they turned it down because they were going to have to play schools that had black players in the East, Charlton. That's how bad segregation was in the 60s.
Yeah.
That universities would refuse to play against black players in college basketball. And so when Texas Western won the NCAA championship back in the mid-60s, and they beat the great Adolph Ruff.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, that really changed the landscape of basketball, and that was one of the fears that white society had. If we play them and lose to them, do we lose our superiority in society?
Well, it's kind of like the same.
And so they kept that separation.
Yeah. Well, it's the same thing that's kind of happening in the world of coaching, or even sometimes when you get into what quarterback is worth $100 million compared to what quarterback that went to the Super Bowl. We don't even want him on the team. But I just want to transition back into this Final Four talk, because this is stuff that people don't want to hear. That's why we call it Real Talk, Big C. You don't always hear it elsewhere. Kind of a lightning rod moment. North Carolina is bracing for penalties from academic improprieties during Roy Williams' coaching tenure, and Syracuse coach Jim Boeheim was suspended 9 games for several violations, the NCAA reported. Now, these two teams are in the Final Four. Now,
they're facing each other, Charlton, in the Final Four.
Yeah, North Carolina, Syracuse. So a really big moment, because we talk about so many athletes, and primarily the African-American athletes. They're the ones that are exploited the most and brought in just for their athletic prowess, because many don't get degrees. And I'm not blaming the university per se, even though they should be about 90% to blame, because they're the ones with the enticement and the power. But I think this is important to bring up. When you think about some of the things that we talked about, Rick Pitino, with these scandals at Louisville, and they had prostitution going on, and no one knew anything. Big C.
Escorts, Charlton.
Escorts. And no one knew anything. Okay, entertainers, whatever they call it. But no one ever knows anything. But the NCAA, with all of their talk about doing things right, this same type of behavior got Jerry Tarkanian chased out of UNLV when they went back-to-back to the national championship game, Big C.
Well, when Tark got chased out of UNLV, Charlton, it was because the players during the off-season were taking pictures with a known gambler. Now, this was during the off-season. They were not in school, so what you're doing during your free time when you're not in class, not in university, got the university and Jerry Tarkanian sanctioned. But when you look at this scenario with Jim Boeheim, where he was suspended for 9 games, and I think they took away like 100 victories from him, from his past victory list. And
108 wins. They took away 108
Roy
wins.
Williams is looking at the same improprieties in North Carolina. Now, these things exist on the major college level. Let's not be stupid and naive thinking that improprieties do not occur at major universities. We've talked about the money that's out there, Charlton, the billions of dollars that are being tossed through these major conferences. And so something is being done, under the table, behind the back door, whatever. It's not right.
Yep.
But these major universities and the big coaches get away with it. You know, everybody, there was a witch hunt for decades against Jerry Tarkanian by the NCAA when he was at Long Beach State, when he was at UNLV,
and they got
when he was at Fresno State.
Yeah.
Now we have these upper echelon universities, as they want to call them, such as the Syracuse and Jim Boeheim, who is a great coach.
Yeah, great coach.
Regardless of his improprieties, he's a great coach. You think about it, Charlton, this is the first time in history that a number 10 seed has made it to the Final Four.
Yeah.
This is Jim Boeheim. His coaching staff, Charlton, is made up of former players, so he keeps people around and he makes sure that they get an education. So whether or not he's done some improprieties, he's done a lot of good things for a lot of young men from inner cities. Same with Roy Williams. When you look at the NCAA tournament this year, Charlton, we talk so much about the one-and-done kids.
Right.
That how they're not great for college basketball. This is a tournament, a Final Four that's full of juniors and seniors that everybody's going to see this weekend coming up. You know, so the coaches have done a lot of things right, but they also do things wrong. People turn a blind eye.
And they don't always know.
When the NCAA wants to come at you, they can come at you.
Yeah, and they don't always know, Big C. That's an important thing, too. We'll get into that in just a little bit. And just to mention that this segment is also sponsored by your Northern California Ford dealer. Go down and test drive the all-new F-150. They build it Ford tough, and tell them that Charlton and Big C sent you. Now, there's a player, Rashad McCants, is on record. He's on record saying he took a number of classes in his 3 years at Chapel Hill, including 4 during the 2005 National Championship, and they had people writing their textbooks, their term papers, doing a lot of the homework. That's nothing new, Big C.
You got players sitting off the NCAA tournament. They haven't been in school in 6 weeks. Who the heck you think is writing these papers for them? I mean, they're traveling, they're practicing. They haven't sit down and picked up anything but an Xbox or a PlayStation since they've been on the road, okay?
Well,
they don't have time to write things. You're going to tell me these players, and the NCAA can sit there and say, hey, it's a student athlete. The NCAA knows what's going on. For you to make it through the entire month of March Madness, what madness allows you to go to class? What madness allows you to write a thesis?
Yes.
So you have to have people. So how are they getting their lessons, Charlton? If they're on the road for 3 weeks, how are they getting the lessons from an instructor, Charlton? Explain that to me.
Well, that's very true. Now, this is the irony. This is a lightning rod that's an irony. There are many attorneys now. You and I have been talking about it since we talked about the college football playoffs in the BCS over at Salem Media back in September, Big C. Now, some might say the NCAA itself is committing a violation itself by hosting tournaments that bring in nearly $1 billion while giving athletes a little more than a handshake and a tuition payment. Now, we know that coaches have benefited from this, but I find it hard for the NCAA to come down on anyone when they're the biggest, most egregious benefiters of free labor. That still goes on in 2016, Big C.
Charlton, tell me what the NCAA stands for. I'm lost.
I'm trying to figure it out myself.
Does it stands for no cash or cards for athletes?
Oh, yeah.
That must be what it means. No cash or cards for athletes.
That might be a new label for it. But I do think, sometimes, like having a cavity, you have to go to the dentist and have them fill the filling. But you have to feel the pain before you get down to the dentist. And the pain that we feel is sometimes when you have the wool pulled over your eyes, you don't pay attention. But when someone pulls your head out of the sand, you got to realize what's right and wrong. I don't think you fix it by not talking about it. You fix it by talking about it, Big C. And so your thoughts.
Tell me, what does the president of the NCAA does to justify his $4.5 million salary? That's what I'm trying to understand. You say the athletes can't get any money.
Yeah.
He's getting $4.5 million to be the president of the NCAA. Why do you need a president of the NCAA? Every university has their own president. Every university has their own athletic director. Every university has their head coaches in every sport. Why do you need some director of the NCAA who is on a witch hunt against whoever he wants to go against, and he's not unilaterally consistent about how he polices all the universities?
Well, that's very true. Now, Big C, another lightning rod issue when you talk about NCAA, and we transition into
no cars or cash for athletes.
No cars or cash for athletes. We'll make sure we get that on tape, okay? We got to patent that for you. However, kind of a serious topic. We talked about the NFL with their anti-violence, no tolerance for pushing or hitting women. Now, this is important because we've talked about it so much. I'm starting to see more and more of it. The Houston Rockets, I know it's NBA, but they have a forward named Montrezl Harrell who was suspended 5 games without pay by the NBA Development League forget this. Guess what he did? He pushed a referee to the floor during an altercation Saturday. This just happened. And it happened at the Bakersfield. It's a team in Bakersfield. They won 119-115 over Rio Grande. Now, the National Basketball Referee Association called for a multiple game suspension, saying he committed a deliberate assault and battery against the referee. Has anyone seen Brock Osweiler with a push on the woman?
Well, you know, Charlton, it's a different stand, and I don't know if I even want to ask this question. Was he African American, Charlton? You know, sometimes I get a little scared to even ask you that question, you know, because when we're sitting here, and people might say we're playing the race game. We're not playing.
It's not
the
race.
game.
It's factual. It's factual.
It's factual. I mean, it's black and white. You're gonna believe the truth. You're gonna believe what some talking head says to you when they don't talk about the scenario. But there's a different level of policing, Charlton. You know, it's like I'm looking at NFL players that are coming back, not to change the subject, but, you know, that are coming back off suspension for these drug suspensions.
Yeah.
Now, you know, when I look at the commissioner talking about the integrity of the league, there was this owner the other day, Mr. Ursay, Mr. $27,000 in Oxycontin.
Right.
You know,
well, they didn't have aspirin today. You know, they ran out of aspirin.
Made a statement saying that CTE, like taking aspirin, there's no medical proof that it helps you or it hurts you.
Right.
Now, he was comparing CTE to taking aspirin, Charlton. This is a guy who buys $27,000 worth of Oxycontin at a time.
Wow.
Now, does the owners go into the same drug program and scrutiny screening that the players do when they fail a drug test or they get caught with an illegal substance or, you know, he basically could have been hit with trafficking.
Yeah.
All of that. Because, I mean, does an individual use $27,000 worth of Oxycontin, Charlton?
I guess if you have enough pain, Rush Limbaugh, I think he and Rush Limbaugh must hang out together. But it still goes back to this hypocrisy we talk about. And ironically, I love ESPN. They've been around, I think, 36 years, Sports Center, somewhere around there. And I love watching Fox Sports.
1983.
83, they came onto the scene. So we know they provide such great entertainment. But I also believe equal time is important. We don't just come onto this program to see how great athletes are. And we love sports. We've been athletes ourselves. It's helped make us a better opportunity in life. But it doesn't mean that you ignore some of the things that we can do to make things better. And when the NBA is trying to suspend a minor league player, a player that's in the development league, for pushing a referee, they give the referee more protection than they do a woman. And I just think that's crazy, Big C. It doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, you know, the NBA has to put up its own house. I mean, we've had referees over the year, Donnie, who was put in prison years ago for, you know, fixing games. We've also had officials that were fired for transferring their first-class airline tickets to fly coach because the NBA makes sure they fly all their referees in first class to guarantee that they're on flights to make it to games. But you had referees cashing those in, so referees are not the cleanest of individuals there are out there, Charlton, because they're in this for the money also. Granted, they love their profession, but there's been some referees that have done some dirty things out there, and the NBA tries to hide it when it's an official doing it, Charlton. But if there's a player that gets involved in a scenario like this, like what you're talking about, the officials are trying to get him banned for 4 games, which is ridiculous, and he's in the developmental league. When you get an official trying to jump in the middle of a scrum, he's going to get hit. He's going to make physical contact with a player. So I think they're overstepping their bounds in what they're asking, Charlton.
Well, I think definitely overstepping their bounds, and that's why I hope that eventually people will bring it up because, as you know, as well as I do, by the time we get to NFL kicking off again, we're going to have another issue, unfortunately, because it happens every year. There's just going to be someone who goes over the top. They're going to hit a woman. They're going to push someone. They're going to do whatever.
That already happened, Charlton. Brock did that a couple of weeks ago.
Yep.
In Houston, you know, pushing a woman outside the pizza place. But that's okay. He's a 6'7", 245-pound quarterback. He's allowed to lay hands on a woman twice.
So the solution, Big C, as we come up to March Madness, and I know we talked about the great Ariama yesterday with University of UConn and how great they are as a program. We talked about the great games coming up. In fact, it should be airing in about the next few minutes with Kentucky and Texas Western from the 1966 game where they had an all-white team versus an integrated team and how that changed the face of college basketball. We know March Madness has Oklahoma versus Villanova, and then we have the great North Carolina and Syracuse. In a nutshell, Big C, how would you sum up what people can expect as far as not just basketball-wise and giving people a fake trophy, but the compensation issue, it has to be addressed. I think with the Charlton and Big C Sports, we made more and more people talk about it, and now I'm seeing it more and more in the paper and even attorneys on ESPN. Your thoughts again on how we go forward in talking about this as we watch people cut down the nets, Big C?
Well, Charlton, what you have to look at are the coaches' contracts that are playing here in the Final Four. All these coaches have bonus clauses for reaching the Final Four, winning the championship, where they're going to make several $100,000 for getting to this level at the end of the season, Charlton.
Yeah.
But what are you offering a player? You're giving a coach several $100,000 extra on top of the couple of million that he's making already, and you're telling the players, hey, we'll take you for a post-game meal in the hotel restaurant that we're playing in.
Yeah.
But we're not going to give you anything. Oh, by the way, we'll give you a championship hat, a championship T-shirt.
Yeah.
And you should be happy with that. And we'll give you a ring with some cubic zirconia.
Wait, you getting all the? Didn't I tell you you're getting all the husbands in trouble now because their wives are all down at the pawn shop to see is this real diamond or is it cubic zirconia?
So it's an unfair thing that has happened over the decades to the players.
Yeah.
That universities and coaches have gotten very wealthy from the tournaments over the years, and you can tell the money, Charlton, because the tournament. Back in the 70s, back when Texas Western and played Kentucky, there was only 16 teams in the tournament, Charlton.
Yeah.
16 teams. So you started out with the Sweet 16. Then it expanded to 32, Charlton.
Yeah.
From 32, it went to 68.
Yeah.
Okay? That's a lot of games. That's a lot of television revenue, Charlton. And the players haven't got any financially better off in the last 50 years from playing the NCAA tournament, making universities millions of dollars. And hey, they get a thank you and a pat on the back.
Well, thinking of thank you and a pat on the back, you can watch Stephen A. Smith on General Hospital tomorrow, and you heard about it on ESPN and also Charlton and Big C Sports. And also, when you watch these basketball games, and you watch the baseball getting ready to start off, and soccer's happening, we have the hockey, NBA's coming down to the playoff run. Everybody can enjoy watching games, but also keep in mind, let's find a way to get these players played. And as you know, Big C, we're always out of time. This show goes by way too fast on the Charlton and Big C show, but you can listen to it every Monday through Friday at the 5 o'clock p.m. Pacific Standard Time, worldwide on Charlton and Big C Sports. And we'll catch you more tomorrow. We hope that you have a super fantastic day.